All right, everybody, we have a new video. This project is called Generalization because what it does is it turns you into some kind of historic general, and it's really cool. This is actually a fun project because I think it's a cool project. It's one that I didn't even come up with. Somebody else came to me and asked if I could turn a picture of their friend into a general, and I'm like, hey, I could do this as a project. So here we go. Let's get started. All right, so I have a list of instructions, right, that I'm going to be working off of. I made these instructions so to help you, and I'm going to be working off of these instructions so that you can see what the instruction means as I do it. All right, so first we have to go to Futopia. We have to open from computer, right? You're going to need to download a photo of the general and a photo of yourself. All right, so here I have one of a general. Now this is also a very popular thing that people are doing these days to celebrities. They're putting celebrity faces on it. So you can see here, I don't even know who this is supposed to be originally. Some kind of general with Ian McKellen's face on it, right? So here I have the general, right? And that was step number 1. Step number 2, find a picture of yourself. All right, step number 3, put your head in place of the general's head. So I have to go to File, I have to go to Open in Place, I have to put the photo of myself. All right, now I have to try to put my face in the same place as the background image, okay? And I'm gonna do one little trick here to help you do that because you can't really see the background general's face. So I'm gonna come up here to opacity, and I'm going to turn that down a bit. So now I can see both faces, right? All right, I'm going to click back on my layer. I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to hold the Shift key, super important. Hold the Shift key and grab it by the corner. That is, both of those steps are super important. Okay, I'm going to see about lining it up. What I'm lining up is my neck with his neck. Right? And I think I should make it a little bit bigger. It's all about the neck. When you're resizing this, it is all about the neck. Okay? And then I'm going to tilt it just a bit. Actually, I think I'm going to... Actually, before I tilt it, I'm going to go to Edit. Now, you may have to do this depending which way your image is oriented. I'm going to go to Transform, and I'm going to flip it horizontally first. Yeah, that's a lot better now. Yeah, I think that's perfect right there. So now I'm going to hit the Enter key on my keyboard. I'm going to bring the opacity back up to 100% for this. All right. That was step 4. All right, step 5, create a layer mask. I'm going to come down here, create a layer mask on the image that has my face. All right, then I'm going to grab the paintbrush, make sure the color is black. All right, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to change my brush stroke size to much smaller. I'm going to go around my head. Try to cut everything else out. Now, there is a reason why I'm using a layer mask instead of just a lasso tool. I could use a lasso tool and cut things out, but the problem is I am later on going to be doing a lot of work around the neck, the collar of the general, and my neck, and trying to get it to fit right and have the right things sticking out, like the right part of my neck sticking out, the right part of the collar sticking out. And that's going to take a lot of work with the black paintbrush, but also with the white paintbrush to paint things back in. And because I'm going to be painting things out and painting things in, I really need to use a layer mask and not one of the lasso tools, because you can't bring stuff back other than, just undoing what you did, right? So right now I'm just going around the perimeter of my head, kind of like if you watched the make a sandwich video. I did the same thing for the lettuce. I'm going around the perimeter first, and then I will come around with a bigger brush and just really take things out. All right, so I'm just going a little bit at a time. This is the part that requires a lot of concentration, a lot of mouse control. This part can be tricky if you are using, I just undid that by holding Control and pressing Z. But this part can be tricky if you are using a trackpad. Not impossible, just tricky. Just going around here, almost done. So when I go around my head, I also want to keep my neck in the image because I'm going to need that for the collar. I'm going to need parts of it. Right, so I'm going to go around the white shirt here. I'm just going around this kind of roughly now because I'm tired of going so slow. All right, so now I have this kind of roughly. I'm going to really pay attention. I'm going to zoom in again. Really pay attention to around the white collar. Because it's a white collar on my shirt, it's going to really stand out if I don't get it all. Right, if I just leave a little bit of white, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So, now I'm going back around my face here, getting parts where I missed. It really helps zooming in a lot. You can, if you zoom in like really far, you can do it pixel by pixel, and that's kind of what professionals do because they get paid for things like that, and so they have the time to do things like that. But for us, ain't nobody got time for that, so we're not going pixel by pixel. We're just trying to clean it up the best we can, paying close attention to details. All right, over here. I know I'm like really close to the camera right now, but that's because I'm trying to really look at this image on the screen. Trying to make sure that it's perfect. All right, I think that is very good. All right, for the outline of myself, I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger and get a little bit bigger than that. I'm going to get this part right here. Notice I left all of my neck. All right, and now I'm going to go around my head again, but since I have a bigger brush, it's going to take a bigger chunk out, but I also have that buffer zone, so I don't need to worry as much about going into parts that I want to keep. And I'm not holding it down. No, if you notice the red circle around my cursor, I'm not holding down the mouse for the entire pass around my head, right? Because if I mess up and I want to undo, now I have to redo that whole thing over again. So it's good to just do it in chunks, do a little bit at a time, let go of the mouse and just keep going. All right, I'm just going to go around it one more time. I can go around it pretty quickly now. All right, now I'm going to make my brush a lot bigger. Still have to be a little bit careful, but the more I go around it, the less careful I have to be. All right, now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to make my brush a lot bigger now. Back up from the camera a little bit. I'm just going to take away the rest of the image of myself. And boom, there we go. All right. Now we can see, all right, I have a little bit of work to do with this collar. So I'm trying to focus on this collar and the curvature here, right? So I'm going to try to take some of this away. All right, there we go. Just going to clean it up. All right, and there we go. All right, I have my face in this picture where I want it, how I want it. I've got everything, the collar sticking out, which is what I want as well. Right? So let's go back to this page. Use the paintbrush to erase everything around your head and neck. Now, except for your head and neck. If you need to bring back part of your head or neck, just to match the picture, just change the foreground color to white. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. If I change this color right here to white, then I could paint something back in. Right? But I don't necessarily need that. Right? And again, if you go to do that and you're doing something and you start making like you're making a white or black stroke with your paintbrush, you're probably not on the layer mask. The layer mask is over here, the image is over here, and you're probably doing that to the image. All right, let's go back to the steps. All right, so next, if you can see parts of the general behind your head, follow these steps. If not, skip to step 16. Well, if I look at this photo, I can see the general's head. So yes, I need to follow these steps. Okay, so number 9, click on my background layer. Number 10, click and hold on the paintbrush tool. All right, click and hold here. And then there's the clone tool. So I want the clone tool. Okay, now I'm going to show you really quickly how the clone tool works. All right, once you have the clone tool selected, you need to hold the Alt key on your keyboard. Okay, I'm going to hold the Alt key. All right, and now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to clone this background to cover up his head. Right, so I'm holding the Alt key and I'm going to just click right here, let go, and then I let go of Alt. Okay, and now you can see my cursor looks like the background. So if I click and drag, I can paint in the background here. And you know, it looks like, you know, the actual background. Like you can't even notice. Now there was one spot here that I messed up on, so I'm just going to click there and just go like this. All right. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And boom. Because we're cloning the background, it still looks like the background because you just made it look like it. Right. And that's really easy right there. All right. All right. So now we're done with that. Let's go to step 16. 16, make sure you have the layer with your face selected. Okay. You want to be on your image, not on the layer mask. Okay. You want to be on your image, not the layer mask. All right, 17, on the menu bar, go to layer, layer style, and color overlay. So up here, this is the menu bar up here. All the way up at the top here, I go to layer. All right, then I go to layer style. And then I go to color overlay. Notice, I do want you to notice here in this image, everything looks kind of yellowy, right? So that's what we're just trying to recreate, all right? Maybe some kind of yellow, and then turn the opacity down. Right. Maybe I want it to be more like a gold, right? Notice it is changing as I click and hold and drag this. As I do that, it is changing so I can kind of see. Maybe turn the opacity up a little bit. I think that's good. Everything looks yellowish enough. All right. And your number for your opacity might change depending on how you look in the image. All right. So choose the gold looking color, change your opacity to 11. Let's see, is my opacity 11? No, my opacity is 16 right now. Again, play around with that number. It might be different. It will be different for sure. Will be different for everybody. All right, on the menu bar, click filter, stylize oil paint. Right, so up here, again, menu bar, filter, stylize is down here, and then oil paint. All right, and again, you just play around with it. So this background image is painted. It is a painting, right? So now I'm just trying to play around with this to make it look more like the image, right? And so I'm just trying to change this up a bit. I'm just playing around with these slider bars a little bit, seeing what they do. All right, and right now I'm thinking that's okay. All right. Right, so play around with the slider bars. And 21, we are almost done. On the menu bar, click on filter, noise, dust, and scratches. Again, filter, noise, dust, and scratches. That's what's going to kind of age it a little bit, make it look a little bit older. Play around with some of these numbers. Whew. Right, so radius clearly needs to be kind of a lower number. What about threshold? All right, so if you have the threshold high, then you can make the radius higher. I like that. All right. And now I can zoom out. I mean, it's not bad, right? All right, so then I go up to File, go to Export as JPG, and hit Save. All right, there you go. That is how you turn yourself into a general.